Okay, we have discussed about the arrays in the last class. So, you know what is an array? Array is nothing but a set of values. It is nothing but a homogeneous collection of elements. So, there will be a single variable and under which multiple values can be stored. So, marks is the best example for the arrays. So, marks is a single variable which will be storing a collection of values. So what does the arrays do? It will enable you to store a set of elements of the same data type. So whenever you have to store the values for a group of people or for a group of things, you can use array. Okay, this is the syntax of the array. So dim is the keyword that we use to declare a variable. So dim in VB.NET only we use dim, and array name is the name of the array, and here we will give the upper bound. So if I want to store 10 values, I will give 9 because the array always starts with 0. So 0 to 9 it will be 10. And as is the keyword that we use to define the data type. Okay. So this is the example. Age is the keyword age is the variable that we are going to declare here. Dim is the 1 second, someone is I can't hear. Supraja, say good morning.
Good morning, ma'am.
Something is problem. My mic is the problem. 1 second, let me. Yes. Okay. Supraja, again.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning, Supraja. Thank you. Okay. So here, so dim is the keyword that we are using to declare a variable called age, and 9 is the upper bound value that we are giving. So I want to store totally 10 people's age details here. Okay, or 10 age details. Okay, as integer. Okay. Um, so integer is the type of the data type. Next, it is storing 0 to 9, that is 10 elements, and always the index value starts from 0, so that we are going to give the value 9 only rather than giving the 10. We will give the value 9 to indicate that it is going to store 10 values. Okay, so let us see an example how this arrays can be implemented. So again, file, new project. This is the last but one console application or console program we are going to do. Okay, it is loading. And before it could be loaded, let us finish another concept. Okay, it is loaded already. Visual Basic console application. This store already selected, and now I'm going to name my application. The name of the application I'm going to give is array. I I click on OK. Okay, so it is loading. So let us go to another concept, that is, apart from arrays, we have to discuss one more concept that is called enumerations. Usually, what is an enumeration? An enumeration is a user-defined data type, actually. Okay, it is a user-defined data type, and especially it is used to assign numbers to the names. So whatever the numbers we want to assign, those numbers are fixed. So it's to assign those numbers, we will use enumerations. Okay, so using these enumerations, the values that are given to the variables, they will be fixed. And those enumerations can be declared using the keyword enum. So these enumerations can be declared at a module, class, structure, or in a procedure or block. Wherever you want, there you can use the enumerations using the keyword enum. So how does an enumeration look like? So this is the example for the enumeration. So I'm going to declare colors enumeration here. For this colors enumeration, what am I doing? I'm assigning red as 1, blue as 2, and so on. Whatever the colors I'm going to give, they will be followed from 3, 4, 5, 6, and all. And the enumeration will be ended with the keyword end enum. So this is the way we are going to close the enumeration. Just a minute, students. 1 second. Okay, let us get back to the class again. We have been discussing this, right? So this is the keyword that we use for the enumerations enum, and it will start with the enum and ends with the enum only. But here you have to use enum and the data variable that you want to store. In this variable, all these colors, red, blue, colors is the variable name. Here you are defining user defined variable, and here red, blue, and all the other colors will be assigned to the respective values 1, 2, and so on, to whichever values you want, to whichever colors you want, and it is ended with the keyword end and enum. So what is this enumeration? They're user defined data type that are used to assign numbers to the names. So rather than using the names of the colors, you can, once these numbers are defined with the specific values, you can use directly those values. So using those values, you can say which color it is. Okay, so nothing but these values, red and blue, are given the numbers. So this number, you can directly use the number in order to refer to that particular color. Okay, so let us see the example for this. So this is the new module we have created for our arrays programming. So here what do? We are going to create dim char as integer. So I'm going to create an array as integer data type. So if I'm not giving any value to this means I'm going to assign the values new integer of mine. So this is the array declaration. And opening and closing braces specifies that the numbers can be given at the runtime or the numbers can be taken. The opening and closing parenthesis specifies the values that has to be stored within the array. Okay. Explicitly, if you want to give the values here, you can give between these parentheses. Brackets, braces. Or if you do not want to give any values, you need not to give also. Okay, it will take it anyway. We are going to create a loop for loop. Whatever the value that we are giving through the for loop, that value will be taken. So this counter variable will be assigned with a value, and that particular counter variable's value will be taken as input here. So to array dot length minus 1. Length minus 1 is nothing but we are going to say that here. Okay, let me finish this and I will tell once again. Oh, I is equal to I. Reach I as integer constant of right. Array of I. So this is the program. So array is the variable. ARR is the name of the variable that is of integer type. So here I am not going to give the values. So new specifies. You already know why new keyword is used to specify an array. Okay. Okay, let us get back. So generally, whenever you have to assign, like, so in order to allocate a memory, the new keyword is used whenever you are using the new keyword here. So for this particular array variable, here it is going to assign 9 locations. Memory is allocated. With this opening and closing bracket specifies that the values that has to be given can be given within these brackets. If you do not give anything, it will just leave it to the blank. Okay. For here, we are going to take a variable. See, why are we leaving it blank is we are going to give the values to this for loop. So whatever the counter variable we are using here, through that counter variable, the input is provided to the array, and that we are printing here. So what are we taking? We are taking for loop for I as integer. So integer is equal to 0. Nothing but the value is for the I initially is assigned to 0, and the length of the array is generally the length is 0 to 9. You already know that. In that 0 to 9, it is going to store totally 10 elements. So what are we going to do? We are going to define the length of the array. Totally the length of the array will be 10. సో మనకి ఇక్కడ array length 10 ఉంటుంది. మనం 0 to 9 అంటే 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 totally 10 elements ఉంటాయి. సో the length will be 10. సో మనం ఇక్కడ ఏం చేస్తాము? We are going to reduce it. The length, since it is starting from 0, we are going to reduce the count by 1. 10 will be reduced to 1. That is by 0 to 9. Rather than specifying that, you can simply say here 0 to 9. So we are writing array dot length minus 1, specifying 0 to 9. Okay. Now here what am I doing? Array of I is equal to I, the assignment. So the first element, array of I is nothing but the first element. Let me just tell it here. So what are we doing? There array of I is equal to I. So initially I is from 0 to array dot length minus 1. This is what we are having. Array dot length is 10. 10 minus 1. Array dot length means 10 minus 1. So obviously it will be 0 to 9. So initially I is equal to 0. Array of 0, the element that here should be stored in array of 0 is equal to E0. Then again, for the next I. So here we are writing next I. After the for loop, we are writing next I. So what happens? Again, I will be incremented. When I is incremented, again I will be 2. So array of, sorry, I will be incremented to 1. And again, array of 1. What is the I value? 1. What is the I value here? 1. So again, 1 will be stored. Again, array of I. That is, I will be incremented automatically. When the loop iterates, the value of I will be incremented. So again, here will be 2 because the value is 2 here. So likewise, until 9, the array will be storing the values from 0 to 9. So likewise, after next, what are we writing? For each I as integer, for each I as integer, what are we writing here? In array, we are writing an output statement, console.writeLine array of I. So whatever is written in this particular array, that is nothing but 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and so on. All the numbers will be printed. So here, next I. So the incrementation process will be completed here. So the loop will be rotated here. As the input inputs are provided there, those inputs will be printed through the output statement. So this is for that output. So this is for input and this is for the output in this particular program. So the console.readline, you know this. Let us just save this and run the program. Now the output should be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 0 to 9 values must be printed here. See, this is the output we are having. Okay, let us not waste our time. Let us quickly go to another program. So we are supposed to do another program on the enumerations. So enumerations is a, so select a file, new project, and here you are taking another console application. So here you are naming the program as enumeration. Okay. So what is an enumeration? It is an user-defined data type. It is used to assign the numbers to the names. Okay, it is created. So now what are we going to do? We are directly going to create the enumeration. E-N-U-M-E. See again, my caps lock is on. So enum, and I'm going to create the colors. So for the colors, I'm going to give yellow is equal to 1. Okay. Next, red is equal to 2. Next, blue is equal to 3. And green is equal to 4. So these are the colors these are the colors I have created, 4 colors. And though I have assigned 4 constants, 1, 2, 3, 4 to each of them. And I'm going to end the, okay, enum is already ended. I didn't see that. Okay. So enumeration is created here. So the user defined data type colors is created. The colors data type is containing 4 colors and they are assigned the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4. Yellow is 1, red is 2, blue is green, blue is 3, green is 4. So in the main procedure, I'm going to make use of those colors. Okay. So in the main procedure, I'm going to retrieve those colors. So whichever color I want to retrieve, I can retrieve. Okay. Now I'm going to write an output statement. Console dot write line. Let us retrieve green. Green color ampersand colors. So there I have given C as caps. Look at this, C is caps here. So here I should write C as caps only. Colors dot. See how many, this is the colors data type I have created here using the enumerations. So here it is displaying what are the list of colors I have given here. Whichever color I want. Here I want to retrieve the green color. So I have written green. Close. Okay. Save the application and run the application. Obviously, I did not write any read line statement. So I need to write. That is why I cannot see the output. Console dot read line. Save and run. So green color 4. The number that is assigned. Green color is I have written in my output statement. That is why it is displaying it green color. And what number is displaying? Whenever I am calling for green, it is displaying the number that is associated with the green. Okay. So like this enumerations are used. So this is all about the console applications that we can develop in the VB.NET. If you have any doubts with regarding this, you can ask me. If you if you don't have any doubts, we can move on to the next thing. Any questions, students? Any questions? Shall we move on?
No, ma'am.
Okay. So today we are going to discuss about the Windows forms, the actual graphical user interface application development begins here. The key for the uh, .NET programming starts here. So it is a golden key, I can say. So we are entering into the Visual Studio environment. I think I have given already the glimpse of Visual Studio. We have developed already very small applications. Smallest applications we have developed, changing the color or label control. So today we are going to learn actually what is a Windows form. So in this, I hope if the time permits, I will complete all three topics. Otherwise, we'll know what is form class and what are the common operations that are involved with the forms. Okay, so let us enter into the class. First concept is introduction, and the introduction is given to the form class. So as you are already familiar with, generally we say that forms are the basic building blocks of the any Windows application. Forms are the basic building blocks, we will say, and they will be serving as the graphical user interface, which means that it will provide and facilitate the user to interact with the form to interact with the application and to make whatever the requirements he has to make his requirements to be fulfilled. Okay, so the console applications we have developed until now, those console applications, they use some commands in order to execute or to do some tasks. If an input has to be given, if an output has to be displayed, all those tasks will be done through commands. Okay, suppose I am writing an output statement. So what am I doing? I am writing console.write. So that is the output statement. Whatever the output I want to display, that output will be displayed using a specific command. Whenever I want to take some data as input, I have to write a command. So likewise, the console applications will be involving with the commands. It is involved with a set of commands for any tasks to be done. Whereas Windows applications, they will be using forms. So these forms are in the GUI format, graphical user interface format, and they will be enabling the user to do the tasks, whatever the tasks he wants. He can interact with the user. The user can interact with the forms because of its GUI property. Okay. You can create Windows applications. Let us see. What is this? Forms are the basic building blocks of Windows application, and they are the GUI to facilitate user interaction. Okay, all the Windows application use forms to interact with the user. So important point, all the Windows applications use the forms to interact with the user. Okay, so these Windows applications can be created in any language. You can create in Visual Basic or Visual C#. In any language, you can create the Windows applications. So in order to create those Windows applications, the Visual Studio provides you buttons. We are calling them as the different types of controls will be provided. Those controls are like buttons, label, text box, message box, radio button, list box. So likewise, check box. Many controls are there. All those controls are used in order to develop a Windows application. Okay. So whatever the controls, actually in Windows applications, we can easily drag and drop. We are talking about this form, isn't it? So whatever the controls we are talking about here, the buttons, label, text boxes, what do? We can just drag and drop the required controls onto the form. Okay. So these controls, some of those controls, they will allow you to put input to the form, and you can add whatever as many number of forms you want to the Windows application, or the to the Windows application form, and if as many number of controls you want, those many number of controls can be added, and those controls can be um, like those controls can be used to organize the data in a like if it wants to organize the name of the person, age of the person, address of the persons, all those details can be used to store. There is a text box, generally button control. Why do we use a button control? It will be like this button control, you have to click. Whenever you click, a particular task has to take place. Label control, whenever you want to give titles, you will give label control. Whereas text box is used to, it will be the text box controls can take input. Okay, so they will take input and they will display output. So we can say input and output control, sometimes text box. Okay, likewise, each control has a specific meaning and specific importance. Okay, so let us discuss about the form class. So we are calling a Windows form. A Windows form is an instance of the form class. A Windows form is an instance of the form class which is placed inside the system.windows.forms namespace. You know this namespace. Okay, what is a namespace actually? A namespace is nothing but a class of elements. Okay, in this particular namespace, each element has a unique name, and it can be shared with elements in another classes. So likewise, every form class has a specific namespace. So this particular form class has a namespace called system.windows.forms. So this namespace is a container for grouping classes of similar types. So this particular system.windows.forms.namespace, it is a container which will be grouping all the classes of this particular system.windows.forms similar type. Okay, so we can say whenever namespaces are used in a programming or in a code, these namespaces, they will organize the code into a set of groups, and those groups are called as the logical groups. Okay, whenever when multiple libraries are used, these names are must. You have to use these namespaces. Okay, in order to reduce the hectic, because multiple libraries will be used. When you especially specify the name of the namespaces that you are going to use in your particular code or in your particular application, it will avoid the collisions that can take place. Okay, so this is the form class, and it is having the Windows system.windows.forms namespace, and this is the hierarchy of the form class. So look at this, all of you. System.object. Within system.object, system.marshal by reference object, and within which system.component model.component. Just remember this hierarchy, that's all. System.windows.forms control. And this Windows forms control, we are going to have scrollable control. And in this scrollable control, container control is there, within which the Windows forms control is there. Actual form control is available within this. So this is the hierarchy of form class. Okay. So let us know what are the properties. There are various properties of the form class, and when you see this, these properties of the form class will be so many, within which we are only discuss very few of them, very few of them. It may be more than 50, more than 60. So we are going to discuss only few of them, few of the properties of the form class. Okay. So accept button, active control, enabled, font, four color, maximize box, name, text, topmost. Let us come to the name. So name is the property that is used to set the name of the control. So whenever you want to set the name of a control, you are going to use the name property. So when a control is dragged and dropped, when you select the name property, the name can be set. For example, I dragged and dropped a button there. I want to name. So I want to name the button. What do? I select the button and I'm going to name the button. I will give the name of the button. Push or click or submit, whatever the name I want to give, I can give. Like here, we are having another control called font. Font is used to gets or set the font of the text displayed by the control. Whatever the text that is displayed in the font. If I say button is having submit, in that particular submit, I'm going to set the font of the submit. So that submit in whichever font I want to display, I can display. Four color. Four color is nothing but what is the color of that particular button. The foreground color. Foreground color is nothing but obviously the button color will be changed. So the font color will be changed. Four color. Next, enabled. Enabled option will be used to whether the control can respond to user interaction or not. Enabled, you have to put yes or no. If it is yes, the it is a boolean value enabled property. When you put yes, you can make an interaction. The particular control will respond to the user interaction. If you put no, it cannot interact with the user. Okay. Likewise, if I say text, text is nothing but the text associated with this control, whatever the text that is associated. I'm telling my button will have the name. So this is my button. If I say in this button, I'm going to write submit. I'm telling submit. So this submit is the text. So that choosing the text property, I'm going to type something into this. Next, topmost. Topmost is nothing but when there are multiple forms created, 1, 2, 3 forms are there, multiple forms are there. In those forms, which form should be? This is 1, this is 2, this is 3. I'm saying if I want that second form to be displayed on the topmost in my output, I can display that using the topmost property. Whereas active control is nothing but in the whichever the control is the active, that control will be displayed. Next, accept button. Accept button is nothing but whenever user enters the enter key, gets or sets the button on the form that is clicked when the user presses the enter key. So whenever user presses the enter key, it will set the button form enabled. So these are the properties. Whereas along with that, the form class also have some methods. Here you see hide is the property. Hide is a method using which the control can be hidden from the user. Or on mouse click. On mouse click is another method. So whenever you use this on mouse click, whenever the mouse is clicked, some event has to take place. So in order to specify that particular method to the application, we will use on mouse click, using which whatever the operation that we are trying to, or whatever the event that we are trying to take place, that event will take place. Whereas on mouse double click, when I double click the mouse, which event I want to take place, that event will be assigned when I use on mouse double click. Or reset font. So when we are trying to assign some values to the some font to the text that is there, if I use reset font, that modification will not exist. The font will be replaced to the original value or default value. Whereas reset four color is nothing but it is the property that we use to set the four color value. That is, if the button is there, for that the four color property is nothing but the text property is four. So foreground, whereas the button is the background. So four color is nothing but, since text is in the front end, the text color will be, four color property will be reset. Nothing but, if I have changed the font color, it will be cancelled and the old color will be restored. Whatever the color that was there, it will be restored to its previous value. Okay. So now show is a method to display the control to the user. If we will frequently using this show method, when you use this method, whatever the control is there, that control will be displayed on the screen. So unlike hide, it will display whatever is there on the control. Show dialog is nothing but, see, we will be seeing a model box, which is nothing but, so generally it will be the model box, which will be having few properties like OK, cancel. So that is the model box that will be displayed using the show dialog. Next, toString is a method to get a string representing the current instance. So whatever the content is there, in order to get, in order to convert into the string, we will use toString. Next, update. Update is nothing but causes the control to redraw the invalidated regions within the client area. So whatever the controls, uh, whatever the contents, or whatever the data I can say, or the controls. Okay. So the values that are within the particular web application will be updated using this. Whereas another one is events. So these properties, methods, and events are the properties or the things that we use over the form application, Windows form application. So click is an event. So whenever you want something to take place or an event to take place, so these are the event. If I click my mouse, an event has to take place. If I select my mouse and drag it here, a line has to be drawn. Whenever I select the pointer option to felt tip pen. Okay. If I select the ballpoint pen, what has to be written? A black color line has to be drawn when it's selected and dragged out. Like that, an event is nothing but a task that has to take place. Okay. So what will we do? We are going to discuss about those events. So auto validate change. It is an event that we use to validate the uh, controls properties. Okay. Whenever the control property like what do we say, enabled is yes, enabled is no, that is the property. Button is enabled yes, button is enabled set to no. So that validation, auto validation will be applied. Okay, auto validation is changed or not, that will be checked with this. Next, back color changed. Whenever I try to change the back color, here I am, back color is four color is the property that we are discussed here. Four color here. So I try to change the four color, or if I try to change the back color of the particular control, whether that took place or not, that will be checked by this event, back color changed. Next, font changed. using the font property, if I try to change the font, whether that font property is changed or not, that will be checked by this font change. So if I say click event, when I clicked my mouse, that particular event has to take place. That will be checked by these events. Next, key press. So whenever I type some character on from the keyboard, okay. So whenever a character space or backspace key is pressed, when the control is on focus, what has to be done? So key press will take care of them. So whenever a backspace control, backspace or space or some other key is pressed by it, what event has to take place? So this key press will take care of the uh, some characters and space or backspace. These three types of controls buttons, when they are clicked on the keyboard, this event will get activated and it will take the necessary actions. So what will happen? Whenever a key is pressed, that particular key content has to be displayed on the that form, in that particular form or code window. So that taking place of that particular event will be done by the key press. Whereas key up, దిస్ కీ అప్ మీన్స్ మనం ఏదన్నా ఒక బటన్ మన కీబోర్డ్ మీద ఏదన్నా ఒక లెటర్ అలా ప్రెస్ చేసి మళ్ళీ ప్రెస్ చేసిన తర్వాత వేలు పైకి ఎత్తుతాం చూడండి, అలా తీసినప్పుడు when the key is released, so what has to be done, that will be taken care by the key up. Whereas మౌస్ క్లిక్ ఏంటంటే ఎప్పుడైనా యూజర్ ప్రోగ్రామ్ చేసేటప్పుడు లేదా అప్లికేషన్ డెవలప్ చేసినప్పుడు మౌస్ ఎప్పుడైనా క్లిక్ చేసినప్పుడు, రన్ చేసినప్పుడు ఏమైనా మౌస్ క్లిక్ చేసినప్పుడు, అప్పుడు ఈ మౌస్ క్లిక్ ఈవెంట్ యాక్టివేట్ అవుతుంది. ఇవన్నీ ఏమీ లేదు, జస్ట్ నువ్వు ఒక పర్టికులర్ ఆపరేషన్ చేసినప్పుడు, లైక్ మౌస్ క్లిక్ చేస్తున్నావు, ఏదైనా బటన్ క్లిక్ చేస్తున్నావు, లేదా ఏదైనా కోడ్ టైప్ చేస్తున్నావు, ఏదైనా కలర్ మారుస్తున్నావు, ఆ పనులు జరుగుతున్నాయా లేదా అని చూసుకునేది ఈ ఈవెంట్ అనమాట. ఈ ఈవెంట్స్ అన్ని ఏంటంటే ఆ పనులు జరుగుతున్నాయా లేదా, అవి ఎలా జరుగుతున్నాయి అది చేసుకునే పని. ఇప్పుడు నేను మీకు సుప్రజకు అప్పచెప్పాను పని, సుప్రజ యూ టేక్ కేర్, ఇఫ్ ఎనీవన్ ఈస్ హ్యావింగ్ ఎనీ ఇష్యూ యూ టెల్ మీ. సో షీ ఈస్ ద ఈవెంట్ మేనేజర్ నౌ. I am taking the class, so she is organizing things. If anything goes wrong, if my mic is not audible, Supraja will tell me, ma'am, your mic is not audible. Your voice is not audible. Or if someone is talking and I cannot hear them, I'm taking my class. Now Supraja will come and say, madam, that person has a doubt and the person is asking the doubt, you please reply. So she is the event handler, she will take care of them. Likewise, all these, every event has a specific name that will be taken care of that particular event. So text changed, whenever the text property is changed, this text changed event will be activated. I hope I am clear. So these are the different properties, methods and events. There are so many properties, so many methods and so many events. We have only discussed very few of them. So what are the common form operations? These are we are going to discuss the 12 common form operations. Okay, I'll not take much of your time because we have started little late. I'm going to take just 5 minutes of your time, that's all. So what are the common form operations? Setting the title of a form, I think we have done it already. So that is why I'm telling, I will not take much of your time. Setting the initial position and state of a form, we will discuss it today. And hiding the minimize, maximize and close buttons, we will discuss. Adding controls to a form, we have done it. See, we have selected a form, in that we dragged and dropped the controls, right? That is adding controls. Tab order, we have not done, we will do it. Next, docking and anchoring of controls, we have not done, we will do it. Next, adding forms to a Windows form application. We have already added form, but we did not add multiple forms. That is why we will discuss again. Setting the startup form, this also we will discuss. Creating always on top forms, this also we will discuss. Showing and hiding forms and controls. Of course, we have done it up to some extent. That is why I'm putting it right. Anyway, I'll discuss each one of them. And resizing and moving forms and controls at runtime. This is also we will discuss. So ultimately, we got already started and three concepts are discussed here. These remaining operations also we will discuss. So setting the title of event, we have already set the title. Okay. So let us know in detail what are these common form operations. Okay. So save it, go to the file, open new. Since we are going to do the form applications, Windows form applications, we are not going to go for the, what is that? We are not going to go for the console application. We are now going for the Windows form. Okay, you know this? File, new, go to new project, and in this select Visual Basic. In this Visual Basic, now I'm going to select Windows Forms application, not console applications. I'm selecting Windows Forms application. In this Windows Form application, what are we having? So Windows Form application, and here I'm going to give the name of the application. So first property I'm going to do is set the title. Set title. So this is the name of the form. So it will be stored in this corresponding location, and I'm going to click on OK. Now this will be gone and a Windows form will be appeared there. So this is my form. In this form, this is the title of the form. What is the title of the form? Form 1. Okay. It is the minimize, maximize, and close buttons. These are the buttons: minimize, maximize, and close buttons. Okay. Next, this is the main area of the form. This entire thing is the main area of the form in which we can drag and drop the controls. Okay. So the form class contains all these things. So here, this is the toolbox. In this toolbox, the controls are available here, different types of controls. You will drag and drop those controls. So first task we are going to do is setting the title of the form. So while in order to set the title of the form, what you have to do is, all you have to do is, you have dragged and dropped the form. Okay. Now double click this form. So you are having this particular code, form load. At runtime, I'm going to say caps lock. Me is nothing but the form itself. Me dot text. Since I'm going to test the set the text property, I'm going to write hello MSC. So I have set the title of the form. Then what will I do? I will save and I will run. Hello MSC. Let us see what is the in the design. The form is like this only. Only at runtime the form is set to change. The title will be changed. Again, let me run this. See, this is the original form, and it is changing its name at runtime to Hello MSC. Students, you have to note down everything. I'm going to take a test on what and all I have discussed until now. So be serious. Okay. So the form name of the form is changed at runtime. You may ask me, can we change it here? Yes, you can change. So you just select the form, go to the properties window, go to the text here itself. If you want to change the name, you can change. But I'm simply changing hello. So it is changed there. I'm running the application. So it is changed to hello MSC. It is hello, but now it is changed to LMS. Do you understand the difference? This is what happens when a form is name changed at runtime. The value that is already there, that will not be displayed. Whatever the value that you have written to be showing at the runtime, that will be displayed here. Okay. So now again, let us take another form. Just for your convenience, I'm taking multiple forms so that you will get used to this. File, new project. I'm taking file, new project. And again, Visual Basic, Windows application. So I will name this application as, or let us do one thing. Let us do it in the form design itself. So here, what are we doing? Sometimes we have to display the position of the form. This is the position. What is the position in the window? It is displayed on the left top corner. Okay, this is the position, that is initial position of the form. Okay, so you can set the start position property of the form either at design time or runtime, like we are done to this particular form name. Okay, the text property of the form. Either you can set the position of the form to start position either at runtime or so. Now what we will do, we will select the form, go to the start position. Here itself it is the text, just above the text property it is there. See, so you want it to be displayed manually or center of the screen or Windows default location. This is the Windows default location, or Windows default bounds or center parent. Whichever position you want to keep, you can put it either at design time or runtime. This is the design time. If you set it to the whichever location you want, it will be at design time. Or if you specify it at runtime, it can be specified. Okay. The start position property takes this particular form from the form's start position enumeration only. Okay, so the first property is manual property. What does this manual property is? Nothing but the initial position of the form will be set according to the location of the form. Wherever the location, you can select and drag and drop. So the initial position for a form will be set according to the value of the location property. So if I say manual, I will go to another property, location. Here, whatever the position, 0, 0 is nothing but this is the initial position. If I say 0, 9 and I will run, the form will be is moved little up. Before and all, whenever we run the application, the form is in this particular position and now it is moved little up. Do you understand? Or if I say 9, 9 and run, it is moved little. Okay, that's what the based on the location. If I say the start location, let us put it to 0, 0. Whatever the start position that is given, manual we have given, based on the location, the condition will apply. Okay, if I say center screen, let us just see. The form is moved to the center. I hope you are following. Let us go quick. Next, another one, Windows default location. What does this Windows default location do is, the positions of the form at the Windows default location will, whatever the position of the form and this particular Windows default location will set the dimensions of the form according to the size property. Now if I say 30, 30 rather than 300 and 300. So let us save and run. Do you see anything there? Nothing is visible. 300, 300. Okay. 300, 300. If I say it is visible. If I say 500, 300, the form is enlarged. So this particular Windows default will be depending on the size property. So the form is changed according to the size of the size property whenever Windows default location is used. Now let us change it to the previous thing, 300 and 300. Okay. Now Windows default bounds. Windows default bounds is nothing but it will position the form at the Windows default location and sets the dimensions of the form according to the default settings of Windows. Whatever the default position that is there, to that particular default position will be set. Okay. Whatever the default location that is there, whatever the default dimension, the default dimension is there, that default dimension, whatever the default rules that are applied, settings that are applied, based on those default settings, the form will be set. It is set to be 0, 0 and size to be 300 by 300 and it is start position. That's all it will be set. Okay. Whereas center parent, let us apply the last thing. So it is nothing but it will position the form as centered within the bounds of its parent form. So whatever the parent form, two forms we need to have. Whatever the parent form, according to the parent form's bounds, the form will be located. And here you can, whatever the requirement, depending upon your requirement, you can set the form position. Generally, Windows default location that will be applied to this by default. And so based on depending on your requirements, we can display a form in whichever state you want. Like you want to display it to be normal, you want it to be minimized, you want it to be maximized, or you want it to be closed. In whichever mode or in whichever state you want, you can display your form. So in such situation, you can set the initial state of the form by setting its Windows state property. There is another property, Windows state, normal, minimized, and maximized. So this is the normal, where all the minimize, maximize, and close buttons are visible. Okay, this is the normal form status, I can say. The state of the form is normal now. So this is the default state of the form. Now, if I want it to be minimized, what will I do? Minimize. Do you see anything? Nothing is seen because it is minimized. If I want it to be maximized, what happens? The state of the form will be set to the maximized state. What happens maximized means it will be covering the entire screen. Let us see. Save and run. So this is the form. Hello MSC. This is the entire form. So this is the maximized. Let us see again minimized. And let me apply. I don't see anything because it is already minimized. So let us go to the default category, that is normal state. So until now we have discussed about the setting the title of the form at runtime and design time and setting the initial position of the form and 4 ways, that is manual, center screen, Windows default location and Windows default bounds and center parent. Whereas we have also discussed about the state of the form. The state of the form can be normal, minimized and maximized. Okay. So this is all about the today's class. Again, there are few more operations that has to be discussed with regarding forms, like title of the form we have set, initial position state of a form we have set, and remaining form hiding, minimizing, hiding the minimize, maximize, and close buttons we yet to discuss. And 2, 1 and 2 are discussed for today. Though we have discussed few concepts here, I will again discuss them. These remaining concepts, 10 concepts, 11 concepts, right? 9 concepts we'll discuss in next class. If you have any doubts until now, you can ask me, students. Any doubts, Supraja?
No, ma'am.
If you don't have any doubts, students, you can exit. Totally. How many are present, Supraja, today?